Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is MUHAMAD DANI Setia WiJaya. You can call me Dani. US cities past and present. Dr. Charles Adrian, a political science professor at the University of California at Riverside, has made a 20-year study of the problems of American cities. The results are present in a book called History of American City Government, 1775 until 1870. The problem of the nation's cities: pollution, crime, riots, lack of planning, transportation are bad. By the wars in the so-called good old days, according to Dr. Charles Adrian. He gives pollution from automobile as one example. He agrees that it may be bad now, but states that there was a lot of pollution from horse and other animal in American cities in the 19th century. Most cities had their own slaughterhouse where cows and pigs were killed a century ago. They were careless about throwing out the remains of the animal and that sort of thing, he said, and the sewer system for waste disposal was almost non-existent. Some of the problems that bother people living in the cities during that period are still with us for planning. Problems in low-income neighborhoods, police relation, and public transportation. Pollution was a very important problem for city governments in this last century, particularly with regard to water supplies. Dr. Adrian said they had some idea the water could be filtered, but they didn't know how. Trying to get pure water was a big problem. People like to talk about the good old days, but actually the cities of the 19th century were dirty and in many ways filthier than today. Communicability was a great concern. There was still smallpox and also yellow fever, malaria, cholera, and typhoid. The infant death rate was high and there were other dangers as well. It is true the people were not being killed by cars, however they often were killed or seriously injured by a runaway horse. It was quite common, Dr. Adrian said. Crime was a great concern too. According to Dr. Adrian, mugging was not as common then, he said, but it did exist. Pickpockets were very skilled too. Also from the 1813s on, there were a lot of summer gutter riots. That wasn't just something from the 1960s. There were several causes, but basically it was because many people moved to the cities from rural areas. Planning of the cities and their neighborhoods was controlled by land speculators and real estate developers who were only interested in making money. Finally, Dr. Adrian thinks that the situation and problems facing American cities have not changed so much, and he suggests that we walk back at the past and try to learn from it. I think enough. Thanks for today. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.